Okay.
There we
Now
are.
it's screen share.
Yes. Minimize. Can you see that page?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just, we already started this chapter last week. So I'm just going a little bit over the beginning. It's called Food, Glorious Food. And we learned about 3D printed hamburgers, artificial beef, and my favorite, the chocolate that you could inhale and get the smell, the taste of the chocolate.
Taste.
Yes. So we are going to read the text carefully. It says, read the text carefully before you look at the gaps so that you know what each paragraph is about. Look at the words on either side of the gap to make sure the sentence you choose makes sense with them. And look for words in the missing sentences that might give you a clue. For example, instead in a sentence A tells you that it expresses an idea that contrasts with the sentence before the gap. Now, I'm giving you a little bit of background information because we are going to read an article about insects as food. Yeah. It says, as the world's population grows, insects, which are very nutritious and much more environmentally friendly than conventional cattle, are becoming an increasingly reasonable source of food. A third of the world's population already eats them. They are a delicacy in some countries, although they make my stomach turn. And a number of startup companies are trying to sell insect-based foods. However, the problem is psychological, as many people would never eat an insect. Even in reality, they do not taste bad.
The thing is, Karen, actually, actually in my books, in other books, and in these books, they have quite the same. I don't know why, but they all love to make articles about it,
which makes my stomach turn. I was getting different pictures for us to look at, and just looking at them, puts me off my food. So if we look at question number 1, you're going to read an article about insects as food. Before you read, decide if the following sentences are true or false. Some kinds of insects can be eaten.
It's true.
It's true. And
in China, people eat a lot of insects, as in other countries that are in the. I don't know how to call this part of Asia, like where is China, Thailand, and Cambodia, like these small countries, like.
Maybe it's the
down from China.
Mid-East. So here I've got a slice of bread with worms crawling on it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Edible bugs, they just make me feel sick. There's bugs, worms that can be eaten, cockroaches. It really turns my stomach. There they've got some worms on a stick that have been grilled. So they can be eaten, but as they said, it's psychological. We don't want to eat it. What do you think about statement number 2? Insects can provide a high level of nutrition.
It's true because they are like full of meat.
Like, yes.
Actually, I don't know. Can we call like this thing inside of insect like meat? But it's like very.
It's nutritious. So I don't know now. Where's the one that I had? Here we can see. Insects are incredibly nutritious and require very little land, water, and feed. They are considered to be a very sustainable food source. And then here is to answer question number 3 about could eating help the world? Because you know we are short of food. So it says our consumption of animal protein is the source of greenhouse gas and climate change. Insects are an overlooked source of protein and a way to combat climate change. The consumption of insects can offset climate change in many ways. So obviously we're missing out somewhere on the delicacies of insects.
Actually, Karen, the thing is that people, like for thousands of years, had like cows and sheep and chicken, and they only start global warming in the 20th century.
This is true, but I think as the population grows, the amount of carbon produced, and by the way, sheep is the plural. We don't say sheep, we say cows,
yeah.
sheep, and chickens. So you're right, a lot of people, and people long ago, I think, ate even more meat than we eat today.
Actually, in Russia, we eat as much meat as them, and a lot more.
Oh. We've started not eating meat, my husband and I. Not strictly, we'll eat a bit of fish and chicken, but we've tried to cut down on red meat just to become a bit healthier. So read the first 3 paragraphs of the article as quickly as you can. That should be good for you because you read quickly. And then check your answers to exercise 1.
I think we haven't discussed number 3, like question number 3 there.
Okay. That's what I read you there. Is it difficult to farm insects on a large scale without damaging the environment? It is difficult. Sorry, it's not a question.
Because now, if they farm insects, they farm not like a lot. Very lot.
So this statement's false. It isn't difficult.
It's false. They, sure, I think they probably will say in the text that it's really easy. But the thing is that if for all people on the earth it would be only one farm of cows, everybody will say that, wow, it's so good for environment.
Yeah, so what they were saying here, the environmental sustainability of insects. Insect farming can be conducted on either small scale or large scale industrialized rearing facilities, and they create much less damage to the climate. So that is their reason for advocating insects.
But I think it's not, they're not really taste like. If you want to eat a delicious like meat or something like this.
Well, that's why I thought this lesson is interesting, because they look disgusting. So we are looking at the first 3 paragraphs of the article. Don't worry about the missing words. So I don't know if it's one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The world population is coming to grow in many areas of the world. The demand for animal products is rising sharply. So in the next few decades, we'll need to figure out both to produce enough food for billions more mouths.
Yes, to figure out how to produce.
There is one source of food that would provide at least part of the solution, and they're already freely available. They can be found right under our noses, as well as below our feet and all around us. And the next one, yeah? Okay. You may turn your nose up at the thought, but it isn't actually such a crazy idea. Although, although,
it's great.
Although, they may not look like much insects, like a great source of food. They contain essential nutrients and can provide a nutritious meal.
Nutritious, full of nutrients.
Nutritious. Insects give out such small amounts of greenhouse gas and take up so little room on the planet compared with the animals we traditionally eat, that they are very much more environmentally friendly. Insects also require fewer food resources compared with our traditional sources of meat in order to give us the nutrient we need. They also require less water than animals or birds. It seems like the obvious conclusion.
Not quite sure where their paragraphs end.
It's about number 4, I think, like 6 sentences has been removed and then.
Yes. So no, they said read the first 3 paragraphs as quickly as you can and check your answers to exercise 1.
Okay, some kind of insects can be yes, insects can provide the high level of nutrition. Yes, it's difficult to farm insects on a large scale without damaging the environment.
Yes. So let's carry on here. Read the full article and say briefly what each paragraph is about.
Okay, the first paragraph is introduction. The second one is about like source of food, like how to stop this problem, or like how problem can be stopped.
Yes, so it's a solution.
And number 4 is like explanation why it can be a solution.
So the introduction is the problem of feeding people in the future because the world is short of food. And then, as you said, paragraph 2, a possible solution. Yay, insects.
And then, actually, Karen, it's because before the coronavirus, there were some like searches, and they find out that by 2030 or 2040, like there in Africa there will be quite a high level of people
starving.
Huh?
People starving.
Like starving, like more people will appear there.
Oh, there will be a population increase. But,
yes.
But the people are starving anyway, so I think it evens itself out because the people die. They have more children, but they don't have the resources to feed them.
No, like because by the 2000 there was a big population increase in China, and after like population increase in China, actually it
started going down. But
yes,
that was because the government restricted them to having one child. Now they're allowed to have more than one child.
Yeah, because like their country is overpopulated.
But now their population was going down and there are too many old people, so they've said that they can have more children. So we have to continue reading.
Okay. It is estimated that a third of the world's population already eats boiled silkworm larvae is a popular dish across Asia, and wasps are also popular across the continent. In Africa, termites can be prepared in a variety of ways to form part of a nutritious meal. That seems to be one of the biggest barriers is convincing more people to eat insect cuisine.
Yeah, what seems to be one of the biggest barriers is to convince people to eat insect cuisine. I can't.
Okay. Some foods like chocolate sell themselves. A lot of people in Europe and North America feel so disgusted at the idea of eating insects that they won't go anywhere near them. Psychologists tend to agree that the dislike that people have towards insects has nothing to do with them tasting disgusting. There have been several experiments that have helped confirm this conclusion. In one experiment, when a sterilized insect was placed in a cup of juice and an everyday object in another, people were consistently convinced that the juice that they had to the insects in tasted worse. If they were willing to taste it at all,
So most
if
people
they
refuse to taste it at all.
Okay. It appears to be the case that insects reliably produce negativity.
Yeah. So that's paragraph 5. The problem of persuading people that insects are good to eat.
Yes. However, there is a movement to put insects on our dinner table. Across Europe, there are companies making nutrient bars that contain insects. Meanwhile, in the United States, the company Chapu sells protein bars containing cricket flour. Most of the companies selling insects and insect-based foods are only just starting up or haven't been around for very long. So we aren't sure yet how it will progress or if the industry will be successful. Will we see an insect aisle at the supermarket?
What's that word? Will we see an insect?
Insect aisle.
No, this is aisle. It's
Aisle.
yes. It is the row in the you know how there are rows in a supermarket?
Yes.
You call those aisles. And you would ask, where can I find the coffee? And they will say in aisle number 6. So will we
insects aisle number 12? Yes.
Yes. So there will be a separate aisle for insects in the supermarket.
Likely we don't have it.
No, we don't either.
Yeah. Will fast food restaurants serve up bulk burgers? These range from 3D printed food to foods manufactured in a laboratory to resemble seafood or meat to further development of soy-based food. Whether any of this will become something that the majority of us eat every day is still not certain.
Okay, for me, definitely not. Although I suppose if you're hungry, sorry,
yeah, people won't eat anything like this.
No, unless you're really hungry.
Yes,
but still not at this moment in time. So 6 sentences have been removed from the article. Choose from the sentences A to G, the one which fits each gap 1 to 6. To make it more interesting, there are 7 answers. So one of them we don't use.
Okay, can I know?
So let's read these and then I'll put up the article so that
okay. I think number 1 is D. Actually. Like meanwhile, many other innovations are seen as a possible future of food. They can be found right under our noses as well as below our feet and around us.
Okay. So this paragraph was actually talking about a possible solution to the problem of hunger. So how about you look at C? There is one source of food. There is one source of food that could provide at least part of the solution. For every human being, this also makes my back roll. There are 40 tons of insects on the earth for every one human being. Okay, let's find our gap number 2. They also require less water than animals or birds. So we are talking about in this paragraph the advantages of insects as a source of food. You're correct. F. So, if we want to find a way to produce more protein with fewer supplies, insects are the way to go. Yeah, number 3.
Some food like chocolate themselves. I think it's there was something about chocolate. It's B. Reese B.
Yeah. At the moment we're saying some foods like chocolate sell themselves. Do you think insects will sell themselves?
They're even available chocolate. So you think it's E? Unfortunately, it can be E.
Also, some foods like chocolate sell themselves. You don't have to ask people, do you like chocolate? Everybody likes chocolate. Unfortunately,
no, there are some people who dislike.
Only very few. My friend gets a migraine if she eats chocolate, so she doesn't, but she eats the white chocolate. So she still eats chocolate, but not the cocoa-based chocolate. So where's number 4? Let's move along. So this is talking about the psychological problem that most people don't even taste them because they believe they are disgusting.
So it's something about, I think it's A. Like instead, it's the idea of eating one that is the cause of such upset.
It's A. Number 5. Across Europe, there are companies making nutritious bars that contain insects. So this is about companies that are manufacturing.
Because it's like a chocolate version.
There's even a chocolate version available with insects in it. And the last one, number 6. Will fast food restaurants serve up bug burgers?
I think it's summer bar burgers, and we had such a thing. It's G.
It's actually D.
D?
Because they're talking about different ranges of food. I know it's confusing because G mentions bug burgers, but D says talking about other innovations. Many other innovations are seen as the possible future of food. That was a little bit confusing. Okay, so that is that one. Right, discuss these questions. Would you eat food containing insect flour? Why or why?
I think no.
If you didn't know, you might. Because flour it doesn't look like an insect. It's a crushed up powder. So,
but you can't like do it without like saying anything.
But do you read a label? If you bought a bar, a sweet, a chocolate
we
bar.
don't have like sweets in bars.
Oh, don't you have chocolates in bars? They come in squares.
We have like chocolates, but they are like in a big bar. Yeah. But usually, we have like Russian chocolates that are sometimes tasty, sometimes really not.
Okay.
And like a little sport and a couple of others.
Okay. Do you think eating insects will become an important part of people's diets in the future?
I think actually in our country, no. But if we will take like some Asian countries or like the countries in Middle Africa, that are not, how to say it, like
they have a huge food shortage.
Yes, and don't have a lot of money in their country. They may have like this like a solution.
I think if you're starving, you would eat anything.
I think yes.
So let's move on to vocabulary. Now, for some reason, they say these three words, food, dish, and meal, students often confuse the words.
What are they confused?
Food, dish, and meal. So they confuse the words. So we have here.
Actually, it's like food, dish, and meal. It's like everything. Dish is like only one plate. Yes,
Correct.
and the meat is like two or three like dishes that you eat like for breakfast or maybe for dinner.
Yes. So if you look at the pictures, what does picture A show? Food, a dish, or a meal?
They're showing a dish.
Yes. And B?
B, I think, is meal.
A meal. And C is food. So you have no problem with those. So these will not be a problem. Question number 2. Fill in. Complete the sentence.
Some types of food.
Yes.
Are connected to increasing intelligence.
Oh, we need to eat those. Some types of food increase your intelligence.
Yes.
I wonder which ones they are. We need some of those.
No, about intelligence is like the researchers that like chocolate a little bit increases like your brain like power.
I know chocolate makes you feel good. I don't know if it makes you more.
Feel good and your brain starts working a little bit faster because of like this something sweet that's connected to it. Actually, brain needs it.
Okay, that's good to know.
It's like plant-based sugars or stuff like this.
Okay, number 2. I really enjoy cooking.
I really enjoy cooking a meal when I get home in the evening.
Yes, so there the whole family is sitting down for dinner with the meal. And number 3.
Actually, in Russia, we usually don't all of us sit down like for a meal in the evening.
Oh, we try and do it in the evening. In the morning, we don't because everybody's rushing to get ready for work and to go to school. But in the evening, we try and sit as a family and eat.
And my favorite dish have always been desserts. Dishes.
Yes, is that true? You like desserts?
Quite yes, because they're in it. But also I think it's raw. Like it's also sushi and
Okay, so a balanced meal. Let's look at
I think that pizza is not a really balanced.
But if you have sushi, it's good for you. And then some pizza and maybe a healthy dessert. Correct the mistake in each sentence. So they have used meal, dessert, and meal, dish, and food in these sentences incorrectly. So you need to correct it. Bless you.
Okay. I'm quite surprised, but I am really enjoying English food.
Yeah. Okay.
Moussaka is one of the most delicious meals you can eat in my country. In one of the delicious dishes.
Yes. Moussaka, it's a Greek dish. I don't like it. It's got brinjals in it.
Tried it.
Yeah, it's a Greek traditional dish.
Okay, the beef meal is really tasty, isn't it? Or a beef dish?
Beef dish. It can't be a meal because otherwise every dish on the meal would have to contain beef. So it's this beef dish. Well, if you looked at this table where they're sitting down for dinner, you would have to have roast beef, boiled beef, fried, beef, braised beef, beef schnitzels, and nothing else. Just beef, 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 beef. So it would be a little bit boring.
As a meal, like I think roasted beef and I think a soup with beef. Like,
Yeah, but with your roast beef, you normally have a gravy and you have some nice roast potatoes. So this is beef
but
dish.
it's not that for me. It can be only like roasted beef. If it's quite a good season.
Okay, not for me. I need something beside. What about number 4?
About number 4. Okay, the food in my country is delicious.
Yes. Number 5?
When I visit you, I could cook a meal that is a dish.
Dish that is from my country. So every country has its own traditional dishes. So when an Italian comes, they may cook pasta or pizza. I think my one Russian student said her favorite thing was borscht. But
Yeah, it is quite tasty, but it's not really easy to cook.
okay. What's your favorite Russian dish?
I think it's pelmeni because it's
What does it consist of?
it's like these small meatballs inside of
Breadcrumbs or pastry?
actually I will Google how to explain you. Actually I don't know how, like when you have flour and something like this and you like mix it with egg.
Yes, it's like you normally take your meatball and you dip it in egg, then you dip it in flour, and then you coat it in breadcrumbs.
Dough.
Dough. Yes.
So yeah, it's like small meatballs in dough.
Okay.
And there are quite a lot of them.
That sounds good. And let's do the last one. The cost of your holiday includes 2 dishes a day, breakfast and dinner.
2 meals a day.
2 meals a day. Good. Now,
But it can be 2 dishes. Like if like you're going somewhere and you are out of money and you like for our like breakfast, I will have like 1 dish, like maybe
porridge. Yes.
And for like dinner, you will have like maybe only soup or only a piece
That's
of
a
meat.
really tough holiday. If that's all, normally we eat more when we go on holiday because we relax and we're not in a hurry. And so we like to try all the different dishes.
Yes, the same thing. But when you actually are going to a country that is really different from yours, because I think if you will go like on the another part of your country or the country that is nearby on the holiday, I think they will have like quite the same quite the same food as people in your country and living near in the region.
So you'll be used to their food. Okay, number 4 uses collocations. Remember, collocations are words that go together. They sit nicely together in English. So complete the collocation with food, dish, or meal. In one case, more than one answer is correct, so you can use more than one. So a something.
The first one, I think it's a meal source, a meal supply, and a meal shortage.
If I say to you, in Africa we have a something shortage.
Food shortage.
Food shortage, yes. So one is a food shortage. It doesn't matter what type of food it is, they have a food shortage in Africa.
And shortage, like it's not really a lot of them, or
Yes, they have very little, or even a food source. They have droughts and their millies die or their rice crops die. So they have very little food. And the funny thing is, funny being strange, not funny, the children have very big stomachs because they are bloated from malnutrition. It doesn't mean they've eaten a lot. Their arms and legs are thin, but it's because they have such a shortage of food. So number 2, an organic or a convenience
organic food, I think.
food. Yes, so we've got food twice.
Yay. And an elaborate, simple dish or
Yes, an elaborate dish or a simple dish when you're looking at a menu in a restaurant.
like simple dish, like give me a piece of bread.
And some peanut butter. If you're in America, peanut butter and jelly. They like to eat on bread.
Actually, the thing is that in Russia we don't have peanut butter, and jelly came only after like the USSR collapsed.
Oh, I don't call it jelly. I call it jam, but they call it jelly. I call it jam. So,
and we don't have like jam. We have like the different things. They are quite the same, but usually we don't call them jam.
Oh, do you make them with fruit and sugar?
We made them with berries and sugar.
Okay, yes. So you can get strawberry jam. You can get cherry jam. You can get fig jam, peach jam, apricot jam, watermelon jam. But they're made with a lot of sugar. So you boil it and boil it and boil it until the water all evaporates and you get this thick, like a...
Yes, and then you close it in a bottle made from glass.
Correct.
That we're staging on a like protocols, like when there is boiling water and you put it like when the water boils and they'll be like.
And then they seal. It's like pressure cooking them in boiling water. So they seal and the heat gets rid of any contamination in there so that you can keep them for a long time. Preserving. It's called preserving. Right, number 4. A balanced.
Okay. A balanced fighting life heavy
meal again. Yes. So you don't have a problem with mixing them up.
Actually, no, because they are quite different. Like I have no problem with mixing up a journey trip or something like this.
I think it was a journey and a trip. The trip was a quick one there and back, and the journey was quite a long one. So
and yes, but now I understand. And the journey trip and the third one was
I don't remember.
Actually, yes. I had problems with them because like journey also can mean like 2 or 3 like stops. And there is another one that means like not this back on the again, but only like the trip, like where you when you fly or drive or go somewhere.
I've forgotten those, so we'll focus on these for today. Complete the sentence with the correct form of the collocation. So again, we must be using these above. Because there's the first one. At weekends, Santos likes to spend hours in the kitchen carefully cooking elaborate dishes. Elaborate dishes, complicated dishes that contain many ingredients.
Yes. Growing population may
lead
to the shortage.
Yes. May lead to food shortages. As we said, more people, less food to eat.
Where is food shortage? Sure.
It's number 1.
I won't call yogurt and a banana a simple meal. It's more like a snack.
Yeah, they say a balanced meal. It's more like a snack. Well, I had that for breakfast, yogurt and berries. But they say it's not a balanced meal.
Usually we have sandwiches and the yogurt.
Okay. If we
Or
continue,
if it's Siberia, they have like usually some different food for breakfast.
oh, we eat a lot of cereals for breakfast, made from wheat, and then you put milk and sugar on them. Or you eat oats or wheat, those type of things for breakfast. So
Yeah,
if we continue to overfish, we won't be able to rely on the oceans as a
food store.
yes, because a lot of people, especially Asian countries, I think fish is their main protein.
Actually, we have also quite a lot of fish.
It's healthy.
But, yes, and like we have quite a lot of bread
Oh,
that we can eat.
interesting. So number 6, I think, is your mother and father. Many people lead such busy lives that they tend to buy something from
Or a simple meal.
or what's this word?
What? Light on meal or
What's this word that I've highlighted?
what? Convinced?
Convenience foods. They are ready cooked and ready packed. All you have to do is pop them in the microwave. Out comes your meal. So they are very convenient.
Usually we don't buy convenience food only if we are going somewhere, and then when we go back, like in the evening, and we have to eat some.
So when you're short
Like,
of time.
Yes, but usually we cook.
I do too. My mom always tries to provide
with fresh vegetables, pasta or potatoes, and some meat or fish. Tries to provide. I think it's organic food.
No. If you've got meats, vegetables, potatoes, and protein, it's a balanced meal. You've got your protein, your vegetables, your pasta or potatoes. It's balanced, nutritionally balanced.
Okay. The several food are.
No. Start again.
The several foods flood.
Yes, so the severe floods.
The severe floods are threatening the country's food supply.
Yes, so the severe floods, if there's lots of rain and the country floods, it destroys the crops and threatens the country's food source.
Actually, we have floods only in the far east, or we had them in St. Petersburg before the dam were built.
Okay, and then it washes over the land and destroys the crops.
No, in Russia we have different problems. It's like drought.
So it's the opposite of floods. Droughts
can also the droughts are in like near the end of the Volga and Caspian.
Okay. We sometimes have droughts. Recently, we've had a lot of rain, so people that live near to rivers, their homes have been flooded. So let's finish this. There's little evidence that something is healthier than other types of food.
That light meal is healthier than other types of food.
This is the one you suggested before. Organic. You know, organic food, they always pretend it's healthier. You must pay more to get organic bananas. And what they're saying here is there is little evidence, means there isn't really evidence that organic food is healthier than other types of food.
It is healthier if you will look at something like meat, because organic meat will have like less fat or something like that.
Because I think
But
they are less.
They are all selected 100 million times. And organic bananas and bananas that were growing like in special places for selling, I think they're quite the same.
They're the same. Yes, so organic beef, maybe they haven't injected the cow with antibiotics, and so in that way it's healthier for you. Let's look at some interesting concepts. These are foods of the future. Which would you like to try? So you can read the 3 different types of food of the future.
Okay, a skin patch, you just apply it to your skin like a plaster and it gives you all the nutrients you need to stay healthy. It won't be like
how boring.
Yes, first is boring, and the second one is you won't have the taste.
You won't have the taste. Therefore, I think you won't feel, and you won't feel satisfied because your tongue, the taste, relays a message to your brain, and there's an enzyme called ghrelin, which tells your brain, I'm full, I've had enough to eat. And that comes from your mouth.
And people will have problems with the stomach then, because the stomachs will start to like destroy.
Maybe shrink, yes, shrink in because there'll be nothing to eat.
Yes, and also like they will have like nutrition, but when they have nutrition, they start like to become filled with juice, like stomach
and
juice.
No fiber, no bulk. Yeah. Okay, what do you think about number 2? Edible cups. After you finish your drink
of juice, you can eat glass. What's a strange thing? Like, why glass?
Yeah, it's not really.
You can make the glass out of, like, maybe it's like with the ice cream. Because when you eat the ice cream and also eat like the
cone, yeah, you can get the cone sort of thing. And interestingly enough, if you can see my little article here, can you see this girl? Yeah.
Actually, not really good, but I will open like your photo.
There, I've shown you. Can you see that girl?
Yes.
Okay. This is what I read this week. When Madison Checketts from Utah in the US became increasingly upset by the amount of plastic bottles that were washing ashore, she decided to do something about it. The 12-year-old designed a water bottle that you can eat after you finish drinking the water. The bottle is made by combining a type of mineral salt often used as a food thickener, lemon juice, and water. Best of all, when you chew it, it has the same texture as a jelly sweet. Actually, it's a silly thing because usually it will cost you like, if you buy a normal bottle of water, actually in Russia, it will cost you, if it's like a small town, from like 20 rubles up to, if it's like quite an expensive place, up to 1200. Like from half of a dollar up to like $3. So she was looking at the amount of plastic that's polluting the ocean. You know, when they open fish, they're full of plastic. Yeah, but the thing is that then bottles will cost you like, let's take an expensive like bottle of water as in Europe, because usually like their bottles of water cost about €2 or dollars, and it's about 150, 160 rubles.
But then, if with these bottles, usually they start to cost like $5, $10.
Mm.
And
But
like,
maybe as
you
it
have to
comes,
see
as it
what-
goes along, it'll become cheap.
Yeah, but the thing is that such things were already designed. Like bottle for people who run marathons, like they're given like these small, like how to call them,
Bottle of water,
Like-
or like it's almost like a packet with a
Yes,
little
like
sucking
water.
thing.
that they eat, and these things that are covered, they also can eat, and they
Okay.
drink and they eat this thing.
And there were sweets. I don't know if you ever got them. They were covered in rice paper, and you could eat the paper. They came from China, a certain type of sweet. Okay, before we run out of time, let's look at the last one in our discussion on interesting ideas for food. Wiki balls.
Small balls of food are covered in an edible skin similar to the skin of soft fruit. They could contain any liquid or solid food like ice cream. You just carry them around in your pocket and wash them before you eat them.
What do you think of that one?
Packed lunches.
Small balls of
Like,
food.
just carry them in your packet. Because they will melt.
No, I think the outer covering, the skin doesn't melt. So it might be easy if you, but here is the problem. You have to wash them before you eat them. So
And
if you're going on a hike, if you're going on a hike, you may not be near water to be able to wash them unless, I don't know if you can wash them in advance. And then they contain, well, they're saying solid food like ice cream. I don't think ice cream is a solid food. You leave it out the fridge, what happens to ice cream?
It melts.
It melts. So,
Wow, what a strange thing. Nobody expected ice cream to melt out of the fridge.
so which would you like to try? And can you add any more interesting ideas to our list of innovative foods?
I think I would eat nothing from this list because everything sounds like a stupid idea.
Okay. And can you think of any interesting ones?
Actually, I think that like interesting ideas of food. I don't think that people should go out of their like traditional food because people were eating it for 1,000 years, like baked meat or fried meat. And why they should stop it immediately and then eat like packed meat?
I suppose it depends on how readily available food is in your country. So if there is a lot of food available, we don't have to think up innovative ideas. But I think we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Have a nice week then.
Thank you. You too. And thanks for the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next Saturday.
Okay. Thank you for the lesson too. Then have a great week.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Bye.
Bye.